T-Lo and Tweet, better known as R&B trio Next, blazed up the charts in the late 90s and early 2000s with several hits that had everyone moving their feet and their hearts feeling some kind of way. But at the same time that their star was rising, behind-the-scenes conflicts among the members were threatening to destroy everything for good. The Brown brothers, Raphael aka Tweety and Terry aka T-Lo, were raised along with their sister by a single mother in Gary, Indiana. Both Tweet and T-Lo were very candid in their 2016 Unsung episode about the physical abuse they suffered at the hands of their mother growing up. They both found solace in the church where they developed a love for gospel music. After a move to St. Paul, Minnesota, though, things went from bad to worse. The boys' mother remarried, and they ended up inheriting a wicked stepfather who would lock them in the basement or attic for long periods of time to control their movements. Then, when T-Lo was 15 and Tweet was 12, they were kicked out of the family home. Big brother T-Lo made sure his little brother continued to go to school while he hustled on the streets so they could eat. Close by in Minneapolis, RL was growing up in a very different environment with both parents in the household. That dynamic still didn't prevent him from having to deal with his own share of issues. His father didn't understand the passion his son was developing for music, and as RL grew into his teens and began singing in local groups and performing in talent shows, the two began to clash. RL's father constantly told him that he wasn't going to amount to anything in life and put him on punishment for coming home late from doing shows in an effort to make his dream come true. To make matters worse, RL also suffered from low self-esteem since he was a small child. As an engineer, RL's father knew the value of an education and wanted his son to focus on his studies, which he believed would serve him much better in life than music. As a result of the constant put-downs, RL decided he'd had enough one day and was going to end his life. He proceeded to his parents' bedroom with a picture of his deceased grandfather in hand, picked up his mother's gun, and pointed it to his head. For whatever reason, he didn't go through with it. Police were called and RL was handcuffed, placed in a straitjacket, and put in a padded room for several hours. RL and T-Lo would eventually meet in the early 90s while still in their teens at the home of a mutual friend. After hearing what the other had to offer, they decided to officially come together as a foursome with Tweet and another member under the name Straightforward, using the number 4 to represent the number of members. While making their rounds singing in local talent shows, the group connected with Sounds of Blackness singer Ann Nesby. She became instrumental in helping the guys learn about projection, breathing, and how to command the stage. When it was time to begin recording in the studio, the group decided to go from 4 to 3 when it became apparent that one member's sound wasn't blending in with the others as well as it should have. Now, since there weren't 4 members anymore, they needed a new name. Next seemed perfect. As the group's demo began to circulate, it eventually fell into the hands of Naughty by Nature member DJ KG. He was on the lookout for acts to sign to his own production company, and once he heard Nex's sound, he knew they had something special. KG set up a showcase with Arista Records president Clive Davis. After the showcase ended, Clive signed them immediately. Next released their debut single, But a Love, in September 1997, which became a big R&B hit for the group, peaking at number 4 and made it into the top 20 on the Billboard Hot 100. Later that same month, their debut album, Rated Next, was released. The group's second single would completely blow their career out of the water. Too Close, which hit number 1 on both the R&B and Hot 100 charts, would also go on to become their biggest hit ever. Baby, when we're crying, I get so excited. It was the catalyst they needed to push the sales of their album to new heights, eventually becoming certified double platinum and winning them numerous awards, including 8 at the 1998 Billboard Music Awards, a record that still stands today. A third single, a romantic ballad called I Still Love You, garnered the group another top 5 hit on the R&B chart and another top 20 placement on the Hot 100. Even though on the outside things seemed like they couldn't get any better, internally there was a major divide happening with the Brown brothers on one side and RL on the other. RL claimed that he always felt like the odd man out, while the brothers insisted that they did their best to make him feel like he was a brother. In 1999, RL branched out from the group and hooked up with several other R&B artists. He recorded We Can't Be Friends with label mate Deborah Cox for her second studio album, One Wish. It became a gold hit, making it into the top 10 on the Hot 100, as well as capturing the #1 spot on the R&B chart. Then he collaborated with Genuine, Tyrese, and Case for the top 20 R&B hit, The Best Man I Can Be, for the romantic comedy drama film, The Best Man. In their unsung episode, T-Lo insisted that the brothers were excited for RL, since his success outside of the group still trickled down to Next as a whole. RL, on the other hand, didn't feel like they were very supportive at all. Next released their second album, Welcome to Necstasy, the following year. It became certified gold on the strength of the lead single and #1 R&B hit, Wifey. That album's success seemed to help soothe some of the hurt going on among the members, until news broke about a major change happening at their label. Clive Davis was leaving Arista to start his own label, J Records. He asked Next to come with him, and the guys didn't hesitate to make the move, especially since they were led to believe that their album would get double the backing by Arista and J. That didn't end up being the case. After the album cycle, the group took a break, leading RL to record and release his debut solo album, R Elements, in April 2002. It achieved lackluster sales and no singles charted. The Brown brothers made a point of voicing their displeasure, not over RL going solo, but the timing of him doing so. They felt that the focus should have remained on the group at the moment, since they were still on the rise. Next was back by the end of that year with the release of their third album, The Next Episode. Putting the album together was quite the task though, since things were far from copacetic between the members at the time of recording. After the album failed to bring in strong numbers, the group had a meeting with Clive where they asked to be released from their contract. More drama followed in 2003 when Tweet officially left the group while blaming his brother and RL of ripping him off financially. T-Lo denied all of his brother's accusations. Around the same time, Tweet's personal life took a hit when his then-wife took him to court on domestic violence charges after she gave birth to their first child. She would go on to accuse him once again several years later after the birth of another child. In response to her accusations the second time around, Tweet filed a 250-page document in which he refers to his non-black wife as a racist, lying stripper. According to TMZ, he claimed that she flew into a jealous rage after she saw photos of him on vacation with his girlfriend a while back, and has been on a mission to destroy him ever since. Tweet finally reunited with his brother and RL in 2011, and they began to perform together as Next once more. Unfortunately, things quickly went downhill after negotiations started surrounding the group signing a new record deal, and according to T-Lo and Tweet, RL made coming to an agreement difficult with his outlandish demands, such as requesting a bigger cut of their profits. RL insists he did no such thing. Tweet said that the next time he saw RL, he was going to catch these hands. Just days before the contract was to be signed, RL's management reached out to the Brown brothers to let them know that he was backing out of the deal, done with Next, and planned to pursue a solo career again. Tweet and T-Lo forged ahead, replacing RL with new vocalist Aaron DuPont, and doing shows around the country. Like in the late 90s, RL went off to do more collaborations with other artists. He, along with Q from 112 and Wingo from Jagged Edge, formed a new trio called WQRL. They released a single called All I Want Is You, which has apparently been scrubbed from the internet. A leak could possibly be found on SoundCloud if one looked hard enough, but you ain't heard that from me. A news story was also circulating around this time about RL being broke and having filed for bankruptcy. His publicist, however, released a statement confirming the bankruptcy filing, but chalking the reason up to getting robbed by his accountant years prior, and not the result of him squandering his fortune. Next, and their #1 hit, Too Close, blew up all over again in 2015, thanks to a viral video calling out liars everywhere. A catchy song called Why You Always Lyin' by Nicholas Frazier, and done to the tune of Too Close, took over social media, racking up millions of views, and turned into countless memes. Nicholas even got the opportunity to meet RL, who was a good sport about taking a photo with him, as well as performing together, but later admitted that he was angered by the parody. He told YouKnowIGotSoul.com, "You are making a parody of my life's work, and on one end, I don't want to be a stickler and, seem like I am bitter or anything, but you are kind of making a parody of something that I really worked hard with. It is something that I continue to get residuals from, and you know, it is part of my identity. I try to make light of it, but it is getting to the point of overkill. By 2018, all 3 original members of Next were back together and independently released their first single in 16 years, called Want It. Next continues to perform together on occasion while simultaneously pursuing their own individual projects, like Tweet, who now goes by Tweet is PRS for Prince Raphael Shawan, who released a couple of solo singles in 2022, and RL's latest work, an EP titled The Letter J, that dropped in 2020. All members are also enjoying married life and raising their children. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you won't miss any future videos. See you next time.